Hey guys, Louie here, and welcome back to ACORN Hill. It's been a while since we've been together, and thanks again for joining me and taking the time out to your busy day to look at what Louie has to offer and what Louie has to share for today. Today I'm in the plant room. We keep a plant room in our home during the winter, and it's working well for us. I have this plant, this specimen that I wanted to talk to you about, and it's called the amaryllis. Amaryllis is a native to South America. There's a lot of good attributes to the amaryllis that I wanted to share with you. First, it's really the blooms. In the wintertime, these are known as Christmas blooms or just Christmas flowers that many people try to force and grow early on so that they could have a good showing during Christmas time. They come in many colors, and they come from the common red to pink and a combination of white and red, and some of them also come in the form of yellow. In some big botanical gardens they do have them, and that's a hybrid that maybe one day we can have. They grow from bulbs. The amaryllis bulb is big. They could be as big as my fist. Typically they get on sale late October, early November, so that people could start planting them and start growing them in time for Christmas. What I got were two bulbs that went on sale the day after Thanksgiving, and these are $1 bulbs. I have two of them over here. Many of us have seen them, but it's best practice for us to show you what they look like in bare bulb form and into slow growth. They came as a kit, these bulbs. And the kit involves a plastic pot. The bulb's already in it. It has a little bit of peat on the bottom, and nothing else. I like this pot, by the way, because look, the protective ring has a hole in the middle. You will put the tip of the bulb through the hole so that when it grows, then you have this protective mat and protective cover. But this is what the bulb looks like. Okay, it's like a big onion. It's on the bottom. I've put my favorite ingredient for growing blooms, bone meal. I put 2 tablespoons of bone meal on the bottom. I've set the bulb right on top of it, put more peat, and then I dressed it with pea gravel. In my other posts, I've mentioned pea gravel and the benefits of pea gravel. When you put them on top of bulbs or on top of any potted plant, not only does it provide a good dressing, meaning a good look to the top of the pot, it also brings down and tamps down the dirt that you are planting the bulb or any plant in. Gives it a more finished look, and that's why I like that. Planting medium that I used, as I mentioned earlier, is peat moss or any well-draining potting soil, and then the bone meal. You could either mix it all up. What I do in my case is I layer them with the peat and put the 2 tablespoons of bone meal, then set the bulb on top, and then I just filled up the rest of the pot with either garden soil, potting soil, and top dressed it with the gravel. In the beginning, what you have on the top is a swelling where you have the initial growth of the leaves. Growth of the leaves, this is when you very sparingly start watering the bulb. You put the bulb either on a windowsill near our fireplace, where I know the temperature is between 68 to 70 degrees. That's what's going to trigger the roots to grow, and when they start growing, you will notice that there's a rapid and vigorous production of the leaves and also of the bloom stalk. The unopened flower bud of the amaryllis looks like this. Once you see that growth starting to appear, it's going to be a rapid succession of root production and foliage production and stalk production. This is about 2 feet long, this entire thing. You see how nice, there's my fist. So you guys get a good comparison of the size, just to give you a frame of reference. When it first started to produce blooms, I posted it on Facebook. There were a lot of people that were surprised by it because they are big. They could be as big as, like I said, my fist. But look at how nice and open that bloom is. The one that I got is a combination of kind of a light red color and a good white going down the throat, the center of the flower, with very light green, jade green on the middle of the actual throat of the flower. Once the buds and the foliage start appearing, they will need continuous watering. And in my case, I've watered them every other day. I used water in my favorite soluble indoor plant fertilizer. And again, I've used that for our other plants, particularly the coleus that's behind me. In fact, the bulb actually grew in size when I started putting in water-soluble indoor plant fertilizer. We were able to produce in one single bulb, a bulb as big as this, we were able to produce 8 big blooms that are really good to look at, especially when they are by the fireplace in the great room. This morning, in my preparation to video this stalk that's right now in the vase originally was in this pot. Well, it really became top heavy to a point that when I came back to the original spot where these were located, this thing snapped off, and that's because these blooms are very heavy. And on this pot, another bloom. This was the old bloom, and you can see the flower already withering in this plant. And I wanted to show you what I do and how to allow the bulb, the existing bulb, to be used again for the next growing season. Or to show you first what we want to prevent. You can see that still on this bloom stalk, there is still a viable flower, and this flower is still pretty good. It is bowing down at the moment because of its weight, and so is the one opposite to it. But this swelling over here, that swelling is where seeds are formed. When we prolong the blooms onto the bloom stalk, what happens is the bulb will start producing a seed, and that part right there will continue to swell. This one, I know for some reason this one is more swollen. That green part right there is more swollen than that. Aftercare is what's important, so I get my favorite clippers, and what I do here, I locate the spent flower. I go all the way to the very tip of the stem and I snap it off. I just snip that thing off. And what's left is a bloom. See that swelling that I was talking about? The bulb will continuously feed and transform that swollen area into a seed. And that's the last thing that we want to do, because that's going to take away all the energy that's still stored within that bulb. I have another bloom here. Is the part that we don't want to form into a seed. And so I'm just gonna snip it off. There you go. Okay, and there are the remaining blooms of the amaryllis. This also has produced leaves that are 1.5 feet long now, leaves that we'll continue to keep. These are green, healthy leaves coming from the bulb itself. We want to keep them because these leaves will act like solar panels. After the 2 other blooms done, I'm going to snip them off, leave the stalk, and allow that to naturally wither, dry up, and brown before I cut this 2 inches above the bulb. The leaves we will keep up until the end of summer. So we'll continue to water this plant. We'll continue to water the bulb and allow the leaves to get as much energy from the sun. We will place it near the windowsill up until the late spring. Leave it there, and when summer hits, we'll put it in a protected spot, because in North Carolina, they could burn from the really harsh, hot sun that we have. Sunlight from dappled shade will allow them to store more energy, meaning more sugar is going to be converted through photosynthesis in the leaves, and will send the energy back into the bulb. And by that time, in the fall, when we know that this is drying up, it will dry up by the time September hits. We're going to put it back. We'll cut everything off 2 inches off the bulb. We'll put it in the closet or anything cool. In my case, because it's always hot here in North Carolina, wrap them in paper bags and stick it in the crisper section of the refrigerator in order for that to get cool and dry. And by the time November hits, this is when we take them out and the whole cycle starts over again. I hope you learned something new today. This is a very quick primer on how to care for amaryllis. Amaryllises are really good plants to have during the winter, during the dreary days of winter. This is Louis, and thank you again for watching our videos. There will be more coming up, more coming soon. Your presence on the channel is greatly appreciated. If you like our videos, don't hesitate to like our videos, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more videos coming up. For now, this is Louis, and we'll see you back here in Acorn Hill. Bye-bye.